It is August 19th. We're just a little after 1 o'clock. Had a bunch of meeting shifts this morning, so sorry I was kind of moving you around on this live date, but thank you all who can make it. Today, I want to reflect a little bit on yesterday. Yesterday was a very busy, eventful day. We had an awful lot of protesters out. We had DOA in from, California, but actually from Chicago by way of California. We had Corn Freak, we had Never and Nana. We saw Heligear. We saw Dippy and Glitter. And it was protesting yesterday, so I really appreciated that there were a lot of people out there protesting. It's not my team, but I like to say that I like when Chicago shows up. So that's always important to me. Now, what I want to do is, yesterday when DOA was coming into town, he saw a bunch of flyers in a bodega, and I think it's the bodega just in front of me. So I want to go in and let them understand. I've got my business cards with me. I want them to understand the dangers of this cult. We'll see if they'll surrender their flyers or not, but I'll give it my best shot. Also, I just don't even really know if this was the place that it happened. Okay, so I can see, I could see the counter. This was not where that took place. I'm gonna have to, all right, at lunchtime, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna look up or rewatch his stream to figure out which bodega he was actually in. Because we saw either 4 or 6 Way to Living flyers in there. And I definitely want to go capture those and bring them back. So we'll head on over to the organization. Just a reminder, right, we've got the DNC here. There is a incredibly noticeable police presence here throughout the city. This is not a part of the city where really we have protests scheduled, nor is it a place where we anticipate there will be a lot of activity. Now, again, if things go sideways, I will tell you that it can migrate very quickly and unpredictably as to where any kind of protest or mob mentality starts heading. I'm gonna run across here real quick. Some of you may or may not know, I don't know if you follow DOA, and I think it was one of his alternate channels. DOA and I, we had a conversation. He had to go to the train. It took him, there was an hour and a half between us getting to the train station and when his train would arrive. So we just sat down and talked, had a beer, discussed some things, explained to him that, hey, there might be some misinformation in regards to what you've got. We talked about some other personal elements that, he brought it up on the channel, right? He did kind of encourage his channel to unsubscribe from anybody that had Ellie as a mod. I did talk to him. He said he would fix that, but he was in the hospital at that point in time, and I'm sure it just, slipped his mind. He never got back to it, and it's not overly, critical that we get that back in there. But right, the idea that I privately talked to him. I'm not somebody who's going to try to air out their laundry in public. It was a very reasonable conversation. I liked that he took a train ride home yesterday, and he talked a little bit about it and the idea that maybe he's got more things to consider. So I really appreciate that. Now, one of the things that he also said was, I gave him kudos where he deserves kudos. He does bring attention and awareness to the anti-Scientology movement. he's got a very big voice, and that voice carries. And I also helped him understand that, because you've got such a big voice, there are people who are afraid to be out there, not physically afraid of you, but the idea that you can do some damage to their channels, right? And I said, I'm sad that we really don't have anybody out at LA protesting anymore. And I think a lot of them are a little bit fearful of you. And he took that to heart. And, I think that, again, you never know, but he listened. And I want to give him credit for that. So there's that. We've got Chad out on the sidewalk right now. And he's got flyers. We'll head down there. I want to kind of see if I can bring up my what I was showing the people yesterday, right? The no new members. So he's already trying to close up. So let's get down there. Okay, he's pulled the blocks on the door here. Hey, Chad. So, right, we've got Chad closing the blinds because, again, all cults have to hide from public. If you've got a cult, right, you don't want the public to see your cult. So you've got to take the shades down. Yes, there are people walking behind me. There was no public in there. We saw Chad walk in. Chad did have flyers in his hand when he was out here on the street. We've got the administrative person here at the desk. Not really seeing anybody in the cafeteria. So the cult has to hide from the public, right? They got to pull down the shades. If you're a cult, you don't want the public to see what you're doing inside. And it's terrible for people to see that their $100 million building is entirely empty. Again, a lot of that commentary is for the people that are out here. I'm going to take a quick scan up and down the street. I just want to see if we're going to find flyers out here. Yeah, but listen, I know that I made a statement and it sounded black and white. I love that Tori is out there consistently. I love that Confident Chris is out there consistently. This is a candy wrapper. Yeah, I just want to see if we're going to see flyers discarded as we walk down the sidewalk here away from Scientology. Sorry. Yeah, and Solomon's been out there as well. So Solomon kind of splits his time, it seems, between police watching and Scientology protesting. We did have Solomon here as well. He is escorted by his mother. She was out with him all day yesterday, as well as Israel. Sorry, let me go back through the commentary to see if I caused any flame wars. Yeah, so, okay, then that was the right bodega. It must be that, I don't know if somebody else would have collected those flyers. So I'm seeing that, yeah, that Vino, because that Vino is right next door. Bon Vino is right next door to where that was at. Thank you, Jay Bat, for being a member for so long. And remember, Jay Bat was our first super chat. Always appreciated. We've got a Scientologist getting ready to come across the street here. Anything positive to share about your church? Nothing positive about the cult of Scientology? Are you okay that there have been no new members in Chicago since the grand opening? You're an entirely ineffective ideal org after spending hundreds of millions of dollars? Check those doubt stats. Yeah, I'm not seeing any flyers here. While I'm back here, I'm going to just kind of poke over to the alley, see if there's any action out in the alley. Oh, and I apologize. Right, Jessica's out there as well, but Jessica does various types of content. And again, I'm not casting shade. I hope that everybody understands I'm an anti-Scientology channel, so I'm much more invested on what's going on in the Scientology realm than in some of the other situations. That's a great question, James. How are they affording these bills? Now, I'm going to go with, we still have no idea which of these people are Sea Org and which of them are staff. Now, we know some of the ones that are staff because they've raised their hand on social media and say, hey, I just joined staff in Scientology in Chicago. Sorry, I'm going to try and get across the street real quick. I want to go up Dearborn. Now, because Chad was outside this org, I doubt that we're going to see other people out, but it doesn't really take us that much to go check Dearborn. So I'm going to head over there. Yes. I didn't see who was freezing, but yes, freezing is not good. I would much rather be too warm than too cold. So. And I just want everybody to know that, do I think that the whole world has changed and that I solved anything? No. All I can tell you is that two people sat down, they had a discussion, and both people listened, right? What'll come from it? That's for the future to hold. Now, I have another, somebody had mentioned to me that Tato's Market here seems to also allow for the flyers to be out. I'm going to take a run by there. Oh, I was always not happy with Tato's that trying to see if I can see their counter. I'm just looking through the window. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on their counter right now that is Scientology related. I will go in there and kind of have an interview with them. I usually don't like to walk in with a camera. I'd rather walk in a little bit less conspicuous when I'm trying to talk to somebody in their own store. Because again, remember, the First Amendment allows me to be outside with a camera. It does not give me the right to be inside with a camera. And again, I know that, boy, you people that are black and white are going to kind of impale me on that. You can go into a public place, so a government building, you can go inside. But if you go into a private building, it's their right to say yes or no that you can film. Right? So I want to clarify that, yes, I can film outdoors, and in certain situations, I have a right to film indoors. But in a private place of business, it is a privilege to be able to film indoors. And again, that's in my city and that's in my country. Right? There are plenty of other places. But I saw, it was either Scientology up north or L. Ron Hubcoat. Loved both yesterday's show on the ex-Scientologist putting forth what he as a Sea Org member went through. And I watched part of the response this morning, but I had to get to a meeting, so I couldn't watch all of that. I just love that we're exposing Scientology in so many different ways. If you're not, let's make sure that we're getting over to the Denmark channels and showing them some love. And again, it's the educational factors and the idea that it gives us facts to arm us when we are able to confront a Scientology staff member or a Scientology Sea Org member, right? Or again, a police officer. Now again, the police. Yeah, Marina, I did not see the flyers in there. So it could be for any of, it could have been just that people picked them up since yesterday. I think there was only 4 or 6 of them in the bodega at all. Yeah, and that book, right, you're right, there was another book that just came out today, I think in Europe. I don't know if it's also being printed in the US or if it's available for sale here in the US. I will say it was it was fun watching Scientology up north. I'm going to say muzzle, but I mean it in the nicest way. That L. Ron Hubcult. No, we can't say that. No, we can't say that. Right? So, and it's such a challenge, right? That it's a factual statement that L. Ron Hubcult was trying to say, but there are just certain things that YouTube is not a fan of. And it's like the old George Carlin 7 words problem. Right? 7 words you can't say on TV. And it just so happens that they're kind of arbitrary what these words are. So we've come over here fairly quickly. Now, foot traffic is actually low here in the city today. Many businesses have asked their employees to work from home when possible. And the rationale is they just don't want to put, I won't say there is danger, but there is a greater than 0 chance that danger could break out here in the city today. So most companies have asked their employees to work from home today. We'll go back down to the org. I'm going to shrink this a little bit because it's hard. I keep on having you above the street level, and you're probably not seeing anybody flying above the streets. There are no actual thetans that are cause over material and energy. Oh, so today the DNC is here in Chicago for the week, and there will be plenty of protests. Some of them will be purely political, right? I'm an R, I'm a D. The other ones will be, there are scheduled Gaza protests, Palestinian war or Gaza war protests, and all of them have permits, and almost every. So Chadwick came back out when I went down the street. Are you okay that women can't report crimes against them in this church? You're supporting human trafficking, child abuse. Look up Lisa McPherson. Why did Lisa McPherson die so quickly at their hands? And while Lisa McPherson wasn't associated with this organization pays for that organization to exist. L. Ron Hubbard said the best way to control people is to lie to them. So you've been lied to. Are you still mocking your own reactive mind? You could go clear if you would just stop mocking your own reactive mind. Remember when Zeno, he gathered up all of the bad thetans in the faraway galaxy, and he put them on a DC-10, brought them to Earth in a frozen state, dropped them in volcanoes, and blew them up with hydrogen bombs. That's the space opera that you believe in. And then you've got the crimes on top of that. How much money does it take to go up the bridge? the bridge to complete financial collapse. Danny Masterson is a member in good standing. He's in jail for 30 years to life, having abused 3 of the members of this church. He actually abused 7 to 10 of them. Only 3 of them went to court. 2 of them he was convicted on. He is still a member in good standing. When those victims came forward to the police, Scientology threw them out. They can no longer talk to their family. Disconnection. So that's the cult that you're trying to work for. Nothing positive to talk about your cult today? He does have a SLR camera, so he might be a photographer for the organization. Regardless, I'm going to say that you don't get to stand behind, I was just there doing photography today. You were being paid by an organization and you just heard a litany of crimes and abuses that organization perpetrates on people, and you still went in, right? So the dollar is more important than being a decent human being. Now, I'm sorry, I concentrated on those, the 3 that were at the parking meter. By the way, he was at a parking meter just now. That's why what they were doing. They were getting his, extending his time for his parking ticket. Not his parking ticket, but his parking space. I did not see where Chad went to. If anybody was paying attention to what was going on in the background and they saw Chad, that would be great if you could give me a little hint on that. And yeah, as I was talking about, right, Democratic National Convention, DNC, is here today. And there will be professional protesters and professional interlopers. The analogy that I used yesterday was, right, there are going to be people that are pro-ketchup and people that are pro-mustard. And there will be people that are being paid to support either side of that, not having any care or concern over ketchup or mustard, but they're being paid, so they'll do that. And worse off, there will be other people that are paid from the ketchup side to go over to the mustard side and cause trouble, so that it looks like the mustard side is trying to stir up trouble. Thank you, Nance. Great to hear. I will be around for a little bit. I believe that Helly is going to be in Chicago between the DNC and Scientology almost all week, right? So Helly is just an activist by nature, right? I just saw 3 or 4 people in there. Howdy. Yeah, now a couple of things that, just to kind of make you aware of it, it's relatively, and again, I don't want to say it's fully safe. I don't want anybody to hang their words on or hang their hat on my words. But there are 2 locations that will have a high number of people, activity, protesters, anti-protesters, and that's going to be the United Center, which is about 2.5 miles west of here, and the McCormick Place, which is about 1.5 miles east of here. It's over on the lakefront, just below the museum campus. If you were to draw a line between the 2, you would pretty much go right through where I'm at. But I will say that nobody is going to be moving from one of those campuses to the other by foot. If we look forward, we can see, right, we've got a lot of, this is probably Homeland Security. You're just seeing a lot of police activity, local, state, federal. All of the highway ramps this morning as I was coming to work had 2 or 3 state troopers there. And again, there's no trouble going on right now. They're just positioning assets so that if things do go sideways, they can have a police presence very quickly, whatever that form of policing is. Nance, hope you're doing well. Happy belated birthday again. We're going to peek down the alley. Smoke time's over. I just saw these people come downstairs from upstairs. So this is break time for the coursework, is my guess, right? That they came downstairs to do a little chit chat, do a little smoking, right? You just saw him take a nice big puff. I am going to look at my shorts. And the people that I've been in. I just wanted to bring up the Aaron statement. There are new Scientologists in Scientology. Have said, not a single brand new person. Not a single brand new person has entered Scientology in Chicago since the grand opening. What a fail of $100 million plus. Don't smoke, it'll kill you.
Spiritual freedom. But why do they hide? Whenever voices of truth echo outside, the blinds fall shut.
You know what? I normally pay much closer attention to him. I didn't see, did he pinch his cigarette and put it in his pocket? So I like this. I'm saving them from lung cancer. Or as L. Ron Hubbard would say, I'm killing them because I'm not allowing them to smoke enough. Howdy, Dave. Great to see you. Hope you're feeling better. Well, and I remember, yesterday I think we saw that Feral Cheryl came back from California with a bit of C. So, boo. Hope she's feeling better. I do know that some of the traditional Chicago runners, thank you, Joy. Some of the traditional Chicago protesters are feeling under the weather. So you haven't seen them in a while as well. What else do we have going on here? So Dreamscape, I did go into the bodega, but there were no flyers on the counter. And without the flyers on the counter, I don't want to try to have the education message because I'm then trying to talk about something that they may have never seen, right? So the clerk yesterday might have been okay with the flyers being there. The clerk today maybe isn't. It may be that somebody actually took those 4 flyers, right? That, so that's an insurance, sorry. So this is just an insurance card, but you know what? I'm gonna be a good neighbor and throw it out anyhow. Yeah, as I was saying, there was nothing there, but it could be 1,000 reasons why there was nothing there. You know, did they see information on one of the channels and go back and collect them? Did it just happen that their patrons actually picked them up as they were checking out? Or did they find the garbage? You know, I guess we'll pretty much never know. I'm just kind of check on these two to make sure that they're not curious and ready to go in. Looks like they're just looking for directions. I'm going to keep the camera off them. Sorry, until they actually move towards or away from. Now we've got Jessica coming out. Oh, nope, she's going downstairs. Remember, downstairs is the purification rundown. Jessica is one of the people that we see quite often, and I've called her the honeypot several times. That there are people who they use. Sorry, guys. They use the advantage of attractiveness to try to trick the people that are coming into this org. We just saw another, I don't recognize the girl we just saw come down in the black ponytail and the all black dress attire. It was a sweatshirt and slacks. So the female administrative person, there's an administrative desk right down there. And when it's the female, she never comes out and does the doors. When it's the male, he does the doors first. Again, I'm raising the camera just to let people walk by who aren't involved in Scientology or anti-Scientology. So it's, again, there's not really rhyme or reason as to why they do or do not close these doors. Correct, and you know what? Part of one of the questions was they seem to have stopped playing music here, and I'm going to say that I haven't seen Anastasia in a month and a half, maybe 2 months at this point. Just like we saw Izzy giving somewhat of a farewell, my belief is that Anastasia has been moved on from this particular organization. So whether it was volunteerism or whatever, she doesn't seem to be here anymore. And I think that was her speaker boombox that would always come out here because it was always Bluetooth connected to her phone. Bluetooth linked to her phone. So I think that's the reason why we're not hearing or seeing music anymore. There was an outlet over in this corner that she would always, there, I see it now, behind the blue sign, to the left of the blue sign. You're seeing there's an outlet, so she would hug it in there, or plug it in there, and they would try to blast me out with music. So yesterday I was able to give a little tech education to DOA as well. We talked quite a bit about the mics. Dreamscape, that's awesome. And again, I always tell people, Scientology is my current enemy, and that's who I'm staying focused on. And yesterday the woman said, "What about the Catholic Church?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm not saying that there's other organizations that don't have issues. I'm telling you that I have issues with this organization, and I'm going to continue on this organization." But Dreamscape, if you feel compelled against something, it's that easy, right? If you know your neighbors, if you don't know your neighbors. Just in the idea that the goodness of protecting them from what's going on is rather important, right? So you going around and collecting those flyers is just incredible, right? And I like that, my ability, my purpose to protect people is what I feel most pleased by, right? I want to go back to the alley just to see if they went in real quick. They've still got 15 minutes or whatever on their break. Did they go in real quick, wait until I left, and then come back out? Yeah, I agree. The what about? And by the way, I am neither condemning or assuaging any of the abuses alleged against the Catholic Church. I did say yesterday something, right, that the Catholic Church attempted to atone for what it did, right? It did penalize its priests. I'm sure that some slipped through the cracks, and they were powerful and well connected. But they at least acknowledged that they took place in abuse and allowed abuse to occur and hid it, right? They would move priests around in order to do that. The idea that at least they admitted it is something that Scientology has never done, right? So Scientology has never admitted to their child abuse, to their human trafficking, to their mental abuse. Now, in LA, I'm guessing that the protesters probably had something to do with that, in that since a protester wasn't allowed to play amplified music, well, then neither should Scientology be able to play amplified music. And my guess is that I'm going to go back over to Dearborn Street real quick. I don't have much time today. I'm going to go back over to Dearborn Street, see if Chad came over here. Darn it, what was I talking about? Folks, don't get old. You're going to forget things like I do. Let me go back to the chat and see if I remember. Oh, the music, right. So they probably filed complaints against the Church of Scientology, saying that, hey, they're playing amplified music as well, and it wouldn't have been that hard to imagine they could get the neighbors to complain about the same thing. Yeah. I definitely get the feeling that most of the people that are neighbors of the Church of Scientology there in Hollywood are not fans. They're not pleased by the idea that they're able to shut down the street, or that they cause traffic problems, or even that they draw the protesters in. So there's the idea that they might not like that the protesters are in their neighborhood every day, but there's also the idea that the protesters are in their neighborhood because of their neighbor. Oh, I see him ahead of me. Good news. Folks, I just saw Chad on State Street. And I saw him hand off a flyer. Hi, Chad. So he's probably going to start heading back to the org, but I do want to see if I can catch up to the person that he did hand the flyer off to. Right? If we think about it, it's an educated guess when I try and come out and find these body riders, and sometimes I'm successful and sometimes I'm not. Might as well go back now, Chad.
Not a single brand new person has gotten into Scientology in Chicago since the grand opening of that building.
Not a single new person has gotten into Scientology in Chicago since the grand opening of the building. Hundreds of millions of dollars gone. Style audit says hi. I am not going to tell him the snarky comments that you're saying about him. I do like that he dresses nicer now, right? He's not got the untucked Scientology or Dianetic shirt on as much. He's getting compliments on his nice suit. Just as I complimented him moments ago, right? Yes, I know you're going to try to delay it, but how come you're not telling these brilliant people about your cult? Don't you want everybody to know about the cult of Scientology? Are you mocking your reactive mind still, Chad? How's our buddy Xenu, right? The galactic overlord that rounded up all the Thetans, put them in DC-10s in a frozen state, shipped them back to Earth, put them in volcanoes, and blew them up with hydrogen bombs. I apologize if you catch pneumonia. Don't worry, it's all fantasy. You can't actually catch pneumonia for knowing this. How are the doubt stats for the org coming along? Did you guys have a good potluck lunch yesterday? Come on, if you believe in your tech, hand it off.
No. This my good cousin.
Show the people how good Scientology is.
I have not.
You either believe in the tech or you don't.
Wanted to meet with those guys.
How'd you do on your PTS course? Am I potential or am I kinetic? You can word clear kinetic when you get back to the org. What's your stance on children auditing? Doesn't that seem strange that children in your church have to audit adults to tell them the most perverse things? That feels like child abuse. Are you allowed to talk about your church? If you can't be a free thinker, what do you think this bridge to total freedom is? Anything positive to share about your cult? Anything positive about the cult of Scientology? No, nothing positive about the cult of Scientology? So Chadwick just went into imprint, right? Our friend Chadwick lives here, right? So we just saw him key himself in or badge himself in. Now, one thing he can do is try to go out the back door. We're going to watch. Gonna watch the Scientologists head back into their org. Oh, they've got the windows open. Let's get those back down. Got a lot of traffic here today. So still nobody in here, but we do have a new administrator at the desk, right? So there's a new admin person down here. We've got photos going on here. Oh, they had to open up for the photo shoot. But there's nobody in the cult today, so they have no new members in their cult. They'll be up here closing the blinds quickly. How you doing? Having a good day? Isn't it interesting that you have to hide from the public? So I don't. Let me see if you can get that right. So you can see that we've got the photography gear here, right? The light shield and so on and so forth. Now, Chadwick has most likely gone out the back of that building. And again, I'm playing man-to-man defense today. So while I am getting them to pull down the shades, at least I'm running up the rates on their photography session. He's probably gone upstairs to do some of the course room. Right, there's a lot of beautiful rooms in this building. Wait, do we have a Chicago? Oh, yeah. So there are two Chadwicks here in Chicago. We have Chadwick Burke, the 1999 graduate of Delphi Academy. He seemed to have held a senior position here for a while. He was involved in an alleged assault here at the church. He has not been seen since. He was in court one time since then, looking rather disheveled. But yeah, and then the person that we just saw was Chad Olsen. The body router that we were just following, that was Chad Olsen. You know, I want, my hope is that, and I know Helly is on her way, hopefully she can get here soon, because that way we can have somebody monitoring the front windows, making sure that they can't open those up for the photography session. That is a good idea. I am not going to repeat it, James. It's too good of an idea. Yeah, we're not seeing, there's no real activity here. And again, the foot traffic here in the city should be low today with the DNC in town. And folks, I'm not saying it's dangerous to be in Chicago. You know, it's the same thing that we always hear about bang bang incidents here in Chicago, and there oftentimes are bang bang incidents. Thankfully, most of the people that have those types of devices have incredibly terrible aim, and it's so incredibly rare. If you think about it, with 8 million people in the 6-county area, 3 million in Chicago proper, the number isn't altogether high. Yeah, auditing Scientology, that is a good idea. Again, I don't want it to show up on a transcript. Now, it's most likely they watch and they're recording all of this stuff. But so, auditing Scientology is one of our KC contingents. You will sometimes see him out with Z News. I always get this wrong. I can't remember if Elron Liar is St. Louis or Kansas City, but we'll say Missouri and feel comfortable. Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Auditing Scientology. Folks, there's just too many protesters. It's very hard for me to keep them straight. I do love it when protesters, and when I'm in a city that has an org, if I'm there for vacation or for business, I love stopping by the org. Right, we saw the 2 orgs in California early this year, April-ish. We've seen Tokyo, St. Paul, or the Twin Cities, Greater Cincinnati. Now, I'm kind of waiting on to see if other protesters will show up. Again, there's just part of me that I don't want to leave the street here because I don't want them to put the shades back up, right? I will say, it is fun when you get to pull the shades down multiple times in a day. And there have been several times where I've been able to get the shades to come down multiple times in a day. You know, I do know that, well, not know, right? I have a high confidence interval that Chad Olsen did go out the back of that org, and he's probably back over on State Street. But, right, we just don't, we don't have anybody here to keep the shades pulled. If they're able to put the shades back up, right, then their photographer can come out and finish their photo shoot. Now, it's possible that photographer is a Scientologist, and maybe they're donating time, although it seems, I don't think you can do that because you'd be out exchange. But if it is a public person, right, they're charging by the hour. So the photographer just walked by the front door again. So he's charging by the hour. Right, let's just run up the bill. I would love to see the invoice on that auditing Scientology. Three hours of stalking and mileage, right? We want time and materials. All right, folks, I do have to head back. They will get some relief here. Again, they're really not, nobody in here is watching me. So it will still take them a little bit of time to realize that I'm not there. But unfortunately, I will have to walk away. Hopefully when Helliger gets here, she'll be able to get them to reclose if they figure it out. Folks, I do appreciate everybody being here. Thank you so much that you participate. You're very helpful, right? You get to, as we learned yesterday, Fuzzy has to fact check me all the time. JBAT as well, and you as chat members have always helped out in that regard as well. We'll see if there's anybody out protesting, if we can go raid. Excellent. Go say hi to Liz Ferris. Wish her well. And I will see you when we get over there. Thanks. Have a great day, everybody.